Welcome boys and girls. In today's video, we are going to talk about a poem called Mirror, written by Sylvia Plath. This poem is important as 10 whole marks may be allotted to it in your exams. But before we start with the explanation, let us learn a bit about the poet. Sylvia Plath remains one of the greatest female poets of world literature to this day. Her poetry is known for their vivid imagery. Her choice of intimate topics makes her poetry confessional in style. Her poems often go above and beyond individual emotions and speak about universal truths in a profound way. She was an advocate of the confessional style of poetry, which developed in the aftermath of World War II. It is an autobiographical mode of verse that reveals the poet's personal problems with unusual frankness. Some of her best-known works are the collection of poems, Ariel, and the only novel she wrote in her lifetime, The Bell Jar. Sylvia Plath suffered from depression and marital problems, which led to her to produce some of her greatest and most haunting poems. However, the stress of her life proved unbearable, and she committed suicide on February 5, 1963. I am silver and exact. I have no preconceptions. Whatever I see, I swallow immediately, just as it is, unmisted by love or dislike. I am not cruel, only truthful, the eye of a little god, four-cornered. Most of the time, I meditate on the opposite wall. It is pink with speckles. I have looked at it so long, I think it is part of my heart. But it flickers. Faces and darkness separate us over and over. Now I'm a lake. A woman bends over me, searching my reaches for what she really is. Then she turns to those liars, the candles or the moon. I see her back and reflect it faithfully. She rewards me with tears and an agitation of hands. I am important to her. She comes and goes. Each morning, it is her face that replaces the darkness. In me, she has drowned a young girl, and in me, an old woman rises toward her, day after day, like a terrible fish. As we can see, the poem personifies the mirror, an everyday object that you all use. But have you ever thought of how the mirror can symbolize something else? We look at the world through the eyes of the mirror. It has a framework of silver, where the shiny glass reflects everything as it sees, without any changes, reflecting the world in its true glory. The mirror has no preconceived notion about the things it sees. It reflects everything truthfully, without any distortion. The mirror does not love being cruel, but it merely fulfills its duty to show harsh realities of the world around it. The mirror doesn't let emotions like love or hatred mask or alter what it displays. Hence, it is like the eyes of some little god or minor deity who surveys everything. Nothing can be hidden from a mirror. The mirror is also a symbol of self-knowledge, as people can easily fool others, but they cannot fool that part of themselves that knows every little evil thing they have done. This part of us functions as our own inner reflection. The mirror spends most of its time looking across the room and sees and contemplates about the pink speckled wall directly opposite to it. It feels an intimate connection with the wall as it sees it all the time, saying that it is a part of my heart. The mirror's view of the wall is disturbed only by the fleeting shadows of people who come to look at themselves in the mirror and the still darkness of the night. The first stanza deals with the truthfulness of the mirror, telling us about its human qualities and its ability to reflect precisely.